Judge Benjamin,
Good morning.
good morning. There has been considerable discussion nationally about policies of Democratic district attorneys and Democratic judges releasing violent criminals who in turn turn around and commit more violent crimes and make our communities less safe. This has been a problem plaguing the country as we've seen crime rates skyrocket and murder rates skyrocket. And it is a problem that is exacerbated by the Biden administration and the Democrats in the Senate who continue to further the priorities of releasing violent criminals. When I look at your record, I see a pattern of doing the same thing. You're very familiar with the case of Albertus Lewis. Albertus Lewis allegedly shot Myra Sanchez in the head and then dumped her body in a wheelchair outside of a hospital in downtown Columbia. You granted Lewis a surety bond in the amount of $150,000. After you did so, it turned out that Lewis was involved in yet another violent incident when police responded to a domestic violence scene involving Lewis, where a woman called 911 saying Lewis had a gun and was setting things on fire. When police arrived, they had to fire almost immediately because of the danger, and they had to go in because Lewis picked up a small child and used a small child as a human shield, in the process causing injury to two sheriff's deputies. Do you think it was a mistake to release a violent criminal on bond when he went out and committed yet another violent crime?
Thank you, Senator. As I previously stated, Mr. Lewis, when he initially appeared before me, I denied his bond. It was not until after the state violated the court's order to try his case. There was issues with discovery missing in the case. And Senator, I'll just say this, the case is still pending. It's a 2017 case. It is still pending. There's issues with discovery in the case, and the defendant was asserting his right, Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial. That was after 2 years when he initially appeared before me, and I denied his bond. In considering any bond, Senator, I consider the United States Constitution, the South Carolina Constitution, and I have to consider the bond statute of the General Assembly in South Carolina.
Okay, so you just said you did it because of a speedy trial claim. What is the remedy for a speedy trial claim?
The remedy for a speedy trial claim is dismissal.
So you didn't do that, did you?
My consideration was based on him violating the court's previous order of not trying the case. It was
By the way,
not
what's
based-
the Fourth Circuit precedent on speedy trial claims? And isn't it in fact the case that the Fourth Circuit has repeatedly held that substantially longer delays don't violate the speedy trial clause?
Well, I think there's an analysis that has to be done.
Did you engage in that analysis?
Yes, and part of that analysis is that the state has to give a reason as to why they did not try the case. And in that case, the state did not have a reason whatsoever.
So you said you engaged in that analysis. Did you write an opinion? Did you explain your reasoning from the bench?
I don't recall. I do not recall, but we do not usually have published opinions in South Carolina.
Well, you know, the court they've appointed you to, that's what they do. And
yes, I understand that.
So I'm going to give you a chance to answer my question again, because I started with, do you think it was a mistake to release a violent criminal who turned around and injured two sheriff's deputies and held up a little child as a human shield? Was it a mistake?
Thank you again, Senator. Once again, I consider the issues before me. I consider the Constitution of the state of South Carolina, the United States, and the bond code. And
but you know, that's not any comfort to the families of the sheriff's deputies who were shot by the violent criminal you released. And you have a pattern of doing so in other cases as well, including releasing one of the people involved in yet another murder of Kelly Honeywell, a 33-year-old single mother of 4 who was murdered, shot during a robbery, and you released one of the individuals involved in that. And listen, what I find amazing is the Biden administration claims they bear no responsibility for releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people. But then President Biden keeps nominating judicial nominees who have a history of releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people. And every Senate Democrat's going to vote to confirm you, and they're going to go home and tell their constituents, oh, we don't support releasing violent criminals who turn around and murder people, and yet we keep following this pattern over and over again. There's a reason people are very concerned about the safety of their families.
During a tense Senate hearing, Senator Ted Cruz sharply questioned judicial nominee Judge Benjamin over her record on releasing criminal defendants. Cruz opened by raising broader concerns about what he described as a national trend of lenient policies by Democratic prosecutors and judges, arguing that releasing violent offenders has contributed to rising crime rates and public safety concerns. He then pointed to a specific case involving a defendant named Albertus Lewis. According to Cruz, Lewis was accused of shooting a woman and abandoning her body outside a hospital. Despite the severity of the allegations, Cruz said Judge Benjamin later granted Lewis a $150,000 bond. The senator emphasized that after being released, Lewis was allegedly involved in another violent incident. Police responding to a domestic disturbance reported that Lewis was armed, set fires, and used a child as a human shield. The situation escalated, leaving 2 sheriff's deputies injured. Cruz directly asked Judge Benjamin whether she believed granting bond in that case was a mistake. In response, the judge explained that she initially denied bond but later reconsidered due to delays in the case. She said the prosecution failed to proceed to trial in a timely manner, raising concerns about the defendant's constitutional right to a speedy trial. Benjamin noted that she was required to consider both state and federal law, including constitutional protections, when making her decision. Cruz pushed back, arguing that the appropriate remedy for a speedy trial violation is typically dismissal of the case, not release on bond. He also questioned whether she had properly analyzed legal precedent or documented her reasoning. The senator repeatedly pressed for a direct answer on whether the decision to release Lewis was a mistake, but Judge Benjamin maintained that she acted based on the legal standards and information available at the time. Cruz concluded by accusing the judge of a broader pattern of releasing dangerous individuals, citing another case involving a murder victim. He argued that such decisions undermine public safety and criticized the administration for supporting nominees with similar records. The exchange highlights ongoing debates over criminal justice policies, judicial discretion, and the balance between constitutional rights and community safety.